Well, you're here because you filled out a survey about a guy and he scored a C. In many important ways, this guy is falling short. Welcome to the Strong Brew, where you get answers to questions you're not supposed to ask. These are some things you may want to know about the man in your life. If you do really well in your career, will he become insecure? Will he try and use money to control you? Will he share housework or just make you do it all? In fights, when he gets angry, does he get aggressive? During intimacy, does he understand that no means no? Is he jealous, suspicious, or possessive? Will his attitude towards you change after having kids? Will he treat your parents with respect? What if you have conflicts with his parents? We tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. These are things nobody else will tell you, things that are important for your future. This is a safe space for truth. No judgment, no platitudes, no login, no payment either. Our questions are from real life, but our answers come from science. Now, I built this thing, me and my husband, and honestly, we built it and we live it. We are both Stanford grads, we both have worked at Google, and we've been happily together since 1998. Along the way, we've added a son, now 13, and 4 dogs. We are genuine folks. If you're a woman trying to understand any man in your life, here is how it works. Go to www.thestrongbrew.life. Click on the Understand a Guy button there. Answer 10 questions about him. Watch a video tailored to your guy. That's all there is to it. It is completely anonymous, no login, no payment, no games, no manipulation. This analysis is obtained by combining solid trait psychology with cutting edge AI ML. We represent each person's personality with what is known as a feature vector. This has 10 elements, so our data is effectively 10 dimensional data. In case you're wondering how we can infer so much from just 10 questions, well, 10 dimensional data is very complex. There is a lot you can learn from that level of detail.
Okay, I think that does it for the preamble. Now let's plunge in. Let's start with this guy in his career. Will he go far or just talk big?
He is more of a doer than a talker. So if he says he wants something, he will work hard for it. He doesn't dream about impossible things but focuses on what he can achieve through effort and stubbornness. If his career matches his interests, especially things connected to style or appearance, he'll stick with it and keep pushing.
Can he bounce back from failure?
When things go wrong at work, he is not the type to break down or start doubting himself. In fact, he bounces back quickly and pushes even harder to prove his point. He won't be the most friendly or gentle if others are also struggling, but you can count on him to keep going no matter what.
What do people at work think of him? Do they like him?
People at work usually find him quite difficult to get along with. He often believes his way is the only right way. So he can come across as bossy or rude, especially since he doesn't worry about hurting others' feelings. Because of this, he might end up in arguments or small fights with colleagues quite a lot.
If you do really well in your career, will he become insecure?
If you succeed in your career, he is unlikely to feel insecure or threatened by your achievements. He sees the world in a straightforward way and is too focused on his own path to compare himself much with others, even his partner. Instead, he might simply say, "Good, keep it up," and move on with his own work.
What if you start earning more than him?
He is not likely to secretly resent you or feel insecure if you earn more than him. His confidence comes from doing things his own way and working hard, not from comparing himself to others, even his partner. He will just continue focusing on his work and expect you to do the same without much drama or insecurity.
Next, let's talk about how he is with money. Does he overspend? Is he reckless with money?
He is not very organized with money and may not keep track of expenses closely. He works hard to earn, but he can spend quickly, especially on things that look good or matter to him. He isn't reckless, but being careful and orderly with finances isn't his strength.
Does he show off and pretend to be richer than he is?
He sometimes acts like he has more money than he really does, especially if it helps him look good or impress others. He isn't careful about matching his spending with his actual income and might pick fancy things or make bold purchases just for the appearance. This means he could end up with money troubles if he's not careful, just to keep up a certain image.
Is he too generous, too stingy, or just right?
He is not very open handed or kind, especially when it comes to sharing or understanding others' needs. He isn't the type to notice when someone is struggling or go out of his way to help. He won't easily say yes to requests for help and might even seem a bit cold or strict about giving or sharing.
Will he use money to try and control you?
He is quite straightforward about money, but he likes to keep control over how it is spent. He won't hide things from you or play secret games with finances, but he will want things done his way and might not care much about your opinion on spending. It's not dishonesty or trickiness, he's just set in his ways and wants to call the shots.
Let's see how this guy is with sharing housework. Will he share housework or just make you do it?
He is quite set in his ways and likely believes that housework is mainly your responsibility, not something to be shared. He may help out only if it suits him or if it's related to tasks he personally cares about, but don't expect him to step in just because you're tired or ask for help. He won't naturally notice what needs to be done around the house, nor does he feel much pressure to contribute.
Will he help you or just boss you around and tell you what to do?
Most likely, he will not help much with chores or changing diapers. Instead, he may stand by and tell you how things should be done, offering advice or instructions rather than jumping in to actually help. He prefers to supervise and make sure things meet his standards, but when it's time for real work, he steps back.
Now let's see about how this guy is during fights. In fights, does he try to understand your views or just win the fight?
Most of the time, he argues to prove he's right instead of trying to understand your side. When there's a disagreement, he feels very strongly about his own opinions and rarely steps back to truly listen to what you're feeling or needing. He might cut you off, raise his voice, or quickly dismiss what you're saying just to make his point clear.
Does he become aggressive when angry?
When he's angry, he usually keeps himself steady and doesn't easily lose his temper or act out in wild ways. However, because he isn't very gentle with words, he can say blunt or hurtful things without caring much about your feelings. He stands his ground firmly and might come across as cold or uncaring when upset.
Does he have a bad temper?
He doesn't get angry very quickly. He's generally calm on the outside and doesn't explode over small things. But when he does get angry, he can be very stubborn and sharp with his words, making you feel small or ignored. Think carefully about whether you want to deal with coldness and tough words instead of warmth, especially in hard moments.
Will he say sorry and accept his mistakes?
He finds it very hard to say sorry or admit when he's wrong. If something goes wrong, he is more likely to blame you or explain why it wasn't his fault, rather than honestly taking responsibility for his actions. Admitting mistakes does not come easily to him, and he often argues his side until the end.
Next, let's talk about intimacy and physical chemistry. During intimacy, does he respect your boundaries? Does he get that no means no?
He is strong willed and stubborn, which means he may not always respect your boundaries easily, especially if he doesn't agree with them. If you say no, he might try to push back, argue, or convince you to change your mind rather than simply accepting your decision. He isn't the type to be aggressive or forceful, but he finds it hard to let go of what he wants.
If you are not in the mood for intimacy, will he react badly?
Yes, he is likely to take it personally if you're not in the mood for intimacy because he is stubborn and used to pushing for what he wants. He may see your no as a rejection of him rather than just your own need for space. He might sulk, act annoyed, or question why you're not interested instead of quietly respecting your feelings.
Can you trust him not to shame you or share your private moments, maybe love letters, photos, or videos, even after a breakup or a bad fight?
You should be cautious as he is not always sensitive to how his words or actions affect others. When he's upset or wants to make a point, he may bring up private moments in arguments or use them to press his side without thinking about your feelings. He doesn't always understand the weight of personal trust, and sometimes what was meant to be special between you might get turned into a weapon if he wants to win a fight.
Is he loyal or is he likely to want to have affairs?
He isn't someone who gets easily distracted by other women. Once he commits, he tends to stay focused on his own world and what he wants rather than chasing after new excitement or flirting. If you're looking for a partner who is steady in commitment but not very expressive, he generally fits that picture.
Will he be jealous, suspicious, and try to control you?
He is not over possessive, controlling, or always suspicious. He doesn't spend much energy worrying about what you do or who you meet, as his focus is usually on himself and his own goals. He trusts his own way and expects you to manage your own life too, without drama or questions.
This guy says he is protective in a good way. Is he actually just being possessive?
No, his so called protective nature is not really about looking out for you. It's more about wanting to do things his own way and expecting others to follow. He isn't openly controlling in the sense of tracking your movements or smothering you with concern. Instead, he sets strong rules and expects you to fit into his plans. If he says he's being protective, it's usually just his way of saying he wants to be in charge.
Now, onto the topic of kids and how this guy will be as a father. If you guys have kids, will he make you do most of the work?
He is likely to expect you to do most of the work when it comes to parenting. He doesn't naturally see raising kids as a shared job and may step in only when it fits his schedule or aligns with what he thinks is important. He may help with discipline or big decisions, but the hands on, everyday care will mostly be up to you.
Kids are very messy. Will he lose his temper with them?
When the kids mess up or get upset, he usually stays calm and doesn't lose his temper easily. He isn't the type to yell or become loudly angry over mistakes. The kids may not be scared of loud outbursts, but they might feel the sting of his sharp comments or disappointment.
If you guys have kids, will he still support your career?
He will likely respect your ability to manage things and won't stand in your way as you juggle motherhood and your own interests or career. However, don't expect him to go out of his way to help or encourage you in either role. He's more focused on his own path and expects you to handle yours without needing much from him. He may not openly celebrate your achievements or show much emotional support, but he also won't try to limit your choices.
Will this man say one thing early on, maybe while dating, and then later after kids and marriage change his tune and try to make you give up your career?
Yes, he is the kind of man who might support your career at first, but then expect you to step back or quit once you have a child. He's very set in his ways and believes that certain jobs belong to you, especially after children come into the picture. While he won't stop you from working when it suits both of you, his support may fade when family roles change, and he may not see your ambitions as important as his own plans or the needs at home. At Kian.
Next, let's see how this guy treats your parents. Will he be respectful with your parents?
He is not someone who will show real warmth to your parents. You can expect him to be politely distant. He will do what is needed on the surface, but don't expect friendly chats, thoughtful gestures, or genuine closeness. He's focused on his own life and doesn't naturally invest in these relationships. He is likely to expect your family to adjust to him, not the other way around.
What if your family creates stress or interferes a bit in your lives?
He will usually handle family stress or interference calmly without losing his temper or making a big scene. However, instead of smoothing things over or trying to find a peaceful solution, he may become blunt or stubborn, saying exactly what he thinks without worrying much about anyone's feelings. This can sometimes make things more uncomfortable, as his comments might come across as harsh or uncaring.
Then let's analyze the role this guy's family will play in your life. Is this man modern with you, but a completely different person when other people, say his parents or bosses, are around?
Yes, he's very likely the kind of man who may seem modern and relaxed with you in private, but expect you to behave like a traditional, supportive wife in front of his relatives. He may not openly force rules on you at home, but when relatives are around, he will expect you to follow family customs, show respect in certain ways, and fit in with their expectations, even if these are not your style. He often sees no problem in holding different standards for home and for family gatherings.
If there is tension between you and his parents, will he support you?
If there's tension with his family, he is most likely to stay out of it or quietly side with them rather than openly support you. He prefers to avoid getting involved in family drama, especially if he believes his family's views are the right way. If loyalty and visible support in tough times are important to you, this might leave you feeling alone and unsupported when you need him the most.
Say you have a conflict with his mother, what will this guy do?
He is not exactly a mummy's boy, but he strongly believes in his own way and usually thinks his family's ways are correct. In a conflict with his mother, he will rarely choose your side openly. He's more likely to avoid taking sides, remain silent, or quietly expect you to adjust. Even if he disagrees with his mother deep down, he won't confront her or defend you directly.
Will he share all the private details of your relationship with his mother or sister?
He is not the type to share every detail of your fights or private life with his mother or sister. He values his own privacy and believes in handling things within the relationship rather than involving others. It's important to set clear boundaries early on about what stays between the two of you so trust isn't broken.
Now let's zoom out and put it all together.
So that's the story. This guy scores a C. In many important ways, this guy is falling short of the standard we would want. Being in a relationship with this man day in and day out means taking on a lot of responsibility yourself, both at home and emotionally. He's hardworking and determined, but not very warm or tuned into your feelings.